I'm not sure if this has anything to do with other things that other revelations that God has been bringing up lately with regard to Joel and Daniel, but I'm going to go ahead and talk with you about this. This is something that he was making me realize about the concept of Jerusalem that he's established. The last 2 or 3 weeks, God has had me in Ezekiel over and over and over, and he actually brought it through Ezekiel 21. He's had me listening to it when I'm, doing chores, listening to the chapters of Ezekiel, reading it when I'm, sitting down to my computer, over and over and over. So I started to write down what I was seeing from the point of Ezekiel 21. And what Ezekiel 21 talks about is the time of punishment that has reached its climax. I understand this to be the triumph over the devil, just as it says in Revelation 12:10. Then I heard a loud voice in heaven say, "Now have come the salvation and the power and the kingdom of our God and the authority of his Messiah, for the accuser of our brothers and sisters who accuses them before our God day and night has been hurled down." That happens after the witnesses have testified. Then Ezekiel 22, so from that point forward, this has begun the triumph over the devil, the time of punishment that has reached its climax. Ezekiel 22 then talks about how he's going to pour out his wrath and how he looked for someone to stand in the gap so he doesn't have to destroy the land, but there was no one. Now that should remind you of when Abraham was, sort of negotiating in a way with God and asking him, okay, if there are 10 righteous people, and then he couldn't find 10 righteous people, looked for someone to stand in the gap so he doesn't have to destroy the land, but there was no one. And then Ezekiel 23 talks about prostitutes. It talks about Ohala and Oholiba. And Ohala is described as Samaria, and Oholiba is described as Jerusalem. And it says that he's going to stir up her lovers, okay, those you prostitute with. He's going to stir up her lovers against her. They will drink their sister's cup large and deep, will bear the consequences of idolatry and adultery. Now, I've spoken with you about this many times on this channel, that what is happening in Gaza right now is happening in the very land of the Samaritans. The sin of the Samaritans, the reason Jews did not associate with them, is because they went off to serve other gods. Jesus even said, "You worship what you do not know. We worship what we do know. Salvation is coming through the Jews." And yet, remember that he told the parable of the Good Samaritan. He didn't tell the parable of the good Jew, did he? And that he left his own town in Jerusalem to go to the Samaritans and stayed 2 extra days because of the lack of faith in Jerusalem. But he could actually find faith in the Samaritans. And likewise, we have this situation in the Middle East. These people who now are Muslim, who you cannot deny, guys, that when God is bringing wrath, he's bringing it for a reason. That God is the one who sends these things. I don't like it. I don't like what's going on. But I also have told you many times that you are the next Gaza. I'm not going to like it any more when it's happening to you than I like it right now while it's happening in Gaza. You need to understand that the Samaritans were Semitic people. They were Jews who became Samaritans, who became these other religions that they're practicing. These are Semitic people, and in fact, more Semitic than the ones persecuting them. And that Ezekiel 23 is saying, you are more detestable. You have become more adulterous and disgusting to me than your sister. Your sins are worse than hers. I've tried to tell you guys multiple times that Gaza is a sign to you. Gaza is a sign to you of what's going to happen when the Antichrist rises from the abyss. And let me tell you something, it's rising, and it's rising globally, not just here. Those who call themselves Jews, though they are not, but are of the synagogue of Satan, look in the news at what's happening throughout the world by those who call themselves Jews, though they are not, but are of the synagogue of Satan. In the 24th chapter, it says, I tried to cleanse you, but you would not be clean. This is the very message that God spoke to me through the building. I'm about to desecrate, profane, defile, make common my sanctuary. Now, this is where God started to make this personal to me and make me understand his heart for Jerusalem. For those of you who are not familiar with this, I owned a building. That building was a dilapidated mess when I bought it. God used that building to teach me how to restore his house. He taught me things like, no one is allowed in this house. I can keep this house empty if there is no one who is circumcised in heart to enter it. I placed someone at that house to watch over it who took it for himself. He did not love the house. He would not do anything out of love for it. I asked him to plant a garden there. He refused to do it. He did the absolute bare minimum to be there, and he had to leave. He took it for himself. Does that sound familiar? We're talking about worthless shepherds who do not care for the flock, who do not care for the house. And so he had to go. And I've spoken to you many times on this channel about how God used that house, how he said every room is going to be inhabited. Every room will be filled. And yet he's told me, if there is no one uncircumcised in heart, they are not to enter this place. So no one stayed there. And I continued to pay the mortgage on that building in addition to the mortgage on my house. And then he had me abandon it. All of it, including the equity. So when it was sold, I did not take anything. And I'm going to share with you why. I'm going to share with you what I wrote here. So the message that he spoke through the building is that you are going to go to the building today, and you are going to, that's the last time you're going to go there. You're going to abandon it because I'm getting ready to abandon my house. When I got home that day, I was in such grief. I was in so much pain. And I said, I still have the keys. It's not too late, Lord. It's not too late if I've heard you wrong. And he said, he reminded me of the passage in which Jesus says, your house is left to you desolate. That means abandoned. So he gave me that second witness, the first by his spirit, what he was speaking to me, the second by his word, confirming for me, this is what I've told you to do. You will not go back to that building. Now, I restored that building with my own money and my own heart. I restored it. I did every single thing that I did, whether it was paint colors, doorknobs, whatever it was. I did it with God, and no expense was spared. It was a dilapidated mess when I got it. It was a beautiful, beautiful place by the time I was done with it. And then I would go over there and I would take care of it. I would clean it. I would water the plant, water the garden. When there was a fire, the fire that was, I don't even know, was it a year ago now? That was in that area, the Eaton fire. I went over there and covered myself in soot, cleaning it up and making it beautiful again. I cared for this place. And no one was in it. I didn't make a cent off of it. And it was a burden to me. I was not, but I loved it. I had love for this place because God was using it in order to teach me about his house. And I called that place a place to rest, which was the name that he gave me to call it. So now understand the metaphor. I created a place to rest for God's people to come and heal. And I could not give it away for free. And that has been the ministry the entire time that I've been doing this as a witness. I have not been able to give this away for free. People don't want it. And so you have to remember the scriptures that God talks about when he talks about a place to rest. There's some context. Now I will read you what I wrote. Ezekiel 23, he's going to stir up her lovers against her. They will drink their sister's cup, large and deep, will bear the consequences of idolatry and adultery. Ezekiel 24, I tried to cleanse you, but you would not be clean. The very message he spoke through the building, I'm about to desecrate my sanctuary. I'm about to profane it, defile it, make common. This is my pain. I put my whole heart into making something so beautiful for his people, and now foreigners have invaded it to treat it as a prostitute for them to make money. That's the banks, okay? And the investors. No one cares what I did to clean that place up or how special it is. It's a prostitute to them, that's it. I feel such pain over this. I could not take a profit off of quote-unquote her. I could not do it. That's not what the property meant to me. It represented, and I'm writing this to God as I'm writing it, it represented your house. How could I profit off of that? I just cared for her. I watered and cleansed. I restored and set someone there to take care of her, who took for himself the epitome of a worthless shepherd and the wicked princes of Israel. He did not love her. He fed himself and then abandoned her. Lord, my pain over this is so great. I know that my decisions are foolish to this world, but you will honor what I've done. You will not put me to shame. I know that my inheritance is in you. My heart was too broken to even try to take something for myself, and I know that that is right. How could I just go and strip her clean? I couldn't. Father, you understand. It was a place to rest for the weary. It was a place for them to heal and learn and disciple. But there was no one to even inhabit it. No one who was worthy to enter. How can I even bear that pain? I feel so much sadness and pain. It's more than just stuff. It's the metaphor, the home, the ministry, the children. I know that you will bring fulfillment to what you've promised. Please console me. Please help me to understand. My heart is in anguish over all that I've done to try to serve you and others, to have to walk away from all that I have suffered to love and gave up to save. But you're faithful. You will not make my offering in vain. And at the end of all of this, I'm slandered and accused, said to take for myself some profit or power. I didn't even take the profit from the buildings. How am I trying to take a profit from you here on YouTube? Am I speaking a message that tickles your ears or something? Said to take some profit or power, to have made bad decisions, when my foolish decisions were to protect the dignity and the sacredness of what that place meant. I was not going to be the one to sell it off or defile it. I couldn't bear to do that. And yet I'm accused of doing something for myself. I'm sharing this with you because I want you to hear the grief and the lament between a servant and God in these very times, and the reason why God is going to pour out his wrath when I and the rest of the witnesses are taken. Because this is what we've given, and this is what we've been accused of. So now he was helping me to understand Jerusalem, helping me to understand the parable of the song of the vineyard, in which he talks about how he searched out a place for his people. He went before them to prepare a place for them, a place that was already, the trenches were dug, the vineyards were planted, it was flowing with milk and honey. He set up a tower and watched over it. Why were there only bad grapes? This lament, this sorrow of God, and how he talks about Jerusalem, his house, his temple, his city, inviting them into something that is sacred. And as he says in Revelation, will never again be defiled. Inviting them to a banquet that he's prepared for his son. A wedding banquet, no less, for him to join with his bride. And people are too busy. Can't even give it away for free. What he's done in doing this has been to make me feel the sorrow that he feels. And now in Micah 2:10, he says, get up, go away, for this is not your resting place, because it is defiled, it is ruined beyond all remedy. And the same is true for those who want to make a prostitute of that house. It's not their resting place. Isaiah 28:12, to whom he said, this is the resting place, will let the weary rest, and this is the place of repose, but they would not listen. And in 28:15, when an overwhelming scourge sweeps by, it cannot touch us, for we have made a lie our refuge and falsehood our hiding place. This is the attitude. No, we don't need what you have to say, Carrie Ann. We don't need what God's building in you. We don't need to hear about the corrections in Scripture, the false translations. We don't need to hear about any of that. We have made a lie our refuge and falsehood our hiding place. People don't even want this. I've said it to you so many times, I can't even give it away for free. And yet I gave everything that I had, even to the point of homelessness, in order to bring it out of me to you for free, so that I would not be a burden to you. And he went on to talk with me about the prostitute and what it says in Ezekiel 23 about how she will be treated as a prostitute again because that's all she's good for. And how he spoke to me about India batting cat eyes at Israel. And when I asked him, what are you telling me? What does that even mean? how he was talking about how India prostitutes itself to Israel. That there's this relationship of like, I get something from you and you get something from me, but neither of them care about each other. It's the same thing with the false prophet of the United States and Israel. It's so sad. The oppressor just takes advantage of the gullibility and need of the prostitute. India is an utter prostitute and is being used and deceived by Israel. All of these signs, all of these revelations and things that he has built in order to help me to understand his heart and why it is that he's going to abandon his house, why it is that he's going to hand over to be a prostitute again. Because you rejected it, and this is the only way that you will learn. It's the only way that you will hear. Just as it says in Ezekiel 14, that Ezekiel is going to be consoled when he sees the conduct and the actions of those God has brought destruction on. And he's going to know that God does nothing without cause. It's already been prophesied. You don't get to defend yourself because it's already been prophesied that this was going to happen. So it's true. If you believed, you'd be doing the work. If you believed, you'd be assembling. If you believed, you would be observing his holy days. If you believed, you would be sharing your testimony. You'd be moved to share your testimony, but you're not doing any of those things. You heard the message. You did not put it into practice. You treat this channel and me as one who sings a song well or plays an instrument well, but you don't put any of what I say into practice. But I know, and I believe in that prophecy of Ezekiel 14, that I will see the conduct and the actions of those who have been brought out of that destruction, of the 4 dreadful judgments, sword, famine, wild beast, and plague, of which God is talking about right here in Ezekiel 21, with regard to the sword, polished to consume, and flash like lightning. I know that what he says is true in Isaiah when he says that I'm going to look at my children who will be brought to me, and I will say, I was bereaved, I was barren, I was exiled. Who bore me these? Where did they come from? I know that that is true, and I know that those who are slandering and accusing right now are going to be put to shame over the decisions that I made, because I made those decisions with God. I know that I did. I didn't get to the point of being able to own a home and a building by making bad decisions, or unsound, foolish decisions, irresponsible, as some have ignoramulously claimed. They have no understanding. Banks don't just give out loans to people who have bad credit scores or are irresponsible. You know, there's a huge underwriting process that has to take place to examine your finances. And I didn't just flip my lid one day and decide, you know, I've been living by the rules long enough. Let me go ahead and mess everything up. I made these decisions with God. You know, and I want to share something else with you that God has been doing with me today. Because I've been grieving a lot. You know, my kids are really struggling. They've really struggled to take care of me, to take care of their own family. But here I am, taking up space in their house, which I know that they don't feel this way, and they tell me this all the time. But I am taking up space in their house, and I don't have anything financial to contribute to them. And there are basic needs that they need to purchase. And I've been crying out to God, you know, just thinking about, like, thinking about the decisions that I've made, that, like, I continued to pay both mortgages on the house and the building. I asked him up front, do you want me to sell? You want me to go buy something outright? I had the ability to do that, you know, even after having given up my career. And I didn't take the equity on either of those properties. I didn't take anything. I came here with a little, you know, like, office suitcase, like a suitcase that you use. I don't know if there's another name for it, but basically you put your laptop and stuff in it. I had a few pairs of shirts, some shorts, some underwear, my laptop, and my iPad, so that I could do videos while I was visiting my kids. That's what I came here with. That's what I had. That's what I took. Nothing. Not even so much as a piece of furniture. And it hurts. But I'll tell you, if I had taken some things, I would probably still be lamenting, well, I didn't take this thing, or I didn't take that thing. Right? God just made it really clear. You're not taking anything. Nothing. No money. Nothing. Not even the things that, you know, your kids just paid for to stock up on, like, or to have available to you at the house, like dog food or toilet paper. You're not going to take anything. And it's really hurt because there are basic things that the kids have needed and haven't had the money to buy. They just bought paper towels today after not having them for days because they didn't have the money to buy paper towels or gas to go drive to the halal market because it's a little bit further away. They can't go drive there. We've got to wait until we have the money to go drive there, so it's hard. It's difficult. And I was crying out to God, and I was asking him, just crying out to him, bothering him, I'm sure, harassing him. But today, these guys came down to the dumpsters that haven't been here for a while, and they're really loud, and they make a mess, and, there's like syringes that end up being left there. And we've got little kids over here, and I went out there, and I told them, get out of here or I'm calling the police. And it was a really impulsive thing to do that years ago I would have done, but I don't do stuff like that anymore. And I was more upset about the fact that I did that, and I went back to God and was like, this isn't something that's in me anymore. Even to call the police, I know that you're the one who vindicates, you're the one who gives me justice. You've taught me not to do that. I was really bothered by it, and I was really bothered by it because I just have not had that kind of an outburst in a very long time, and I was like, what am I not doing? And he started to make me realize that I've been compelled to do the opposite of what I want to accomplish. What I was doing was intended to protect my family, and I did the very opposite because I made my family vulnerable. I put them in danger by going out there and doing that. It's the exact opposite of what I was trying to accomplish. Then a little while later, my 3-year-old grandson had the 1-year-old granddaughter on the sofa, and he's playing with her, and he's, tickling her and doing all of this stuff, and he is having fun with her, and he's trying to play with her, and he's trying to, do all of this, but he, takes his hands and leans onto her ribs, and then, it does a little jump, and it didn't hurt her at all, thankfully. She kind of sunk into the cushions, and he's not heavy. So it didn't faze her at all, but it freaked me out when I saw it. And I had to realize at a point that he thinks that he's doing good, like he's playing with her. He doesn't understand that it's dangerous. And this is the same situation for me. I'm compelled to do the opposite of what I want to do. Compelled to protect my family in ways that I can't even protect them. But when I try to take it up by the work of my hands, I do the very opposite of what I'm actually setting out to do. And the very things that I think are good, I don't understand are dangerous to my children. I thought that I was doing good in building wealth for my daughter. Even when I was dying, I would still make sure that I did certain work so that I could continue to just, if this is the only thing that I'm good for right now, laying in bed all day, at least I can still make money for my daughter to pass on to her. And she didn't get a cent of it. And you know what? That's because God loves her enough not to gift her wealth. And he's made this clear to me many times, but it's so difficult to wrap my head around when, I was a single mother going to school to get my doctorate and then building these businesses, and my daughter missed out on so much time with me because the world told me that was the right thing to do, and now I have nothing to give her, and God has made it clear that this is the way it should be. That I'm not gifting her wealth, that I don't even know what's good, and that I need to get my head wrapped around what is good, what he has done in me, and the inheritance that she will have as a result of what he's done in me, and what he's now doing in her and in her husband and through her family. And he was telling me, I'm the one who's going to protect, I'm the one who's going to provide and instruct. And what am I going to do? Hand over that responsibility, that authority to the police? Keep calling them? They're not going to protect. They're going to get sick of it. And then he started to take me to a place of understanding, feeling really guilty over putting my household in danger, and feeling like I need to apologize. I apologized to my daughter. I needed to apologize to my son-in-law when he got home, that I put their household in danger. And then I realized I put God's house in danger by thinking that I knew better and by doing whatever it took, even evil, to make it happen, that my daughter would never have to live the way that I had to live, in poverty and, not having any human being to be able to borrow money from or fall back on if I didn't make it. It was always an anxiety for me. I put his house in danger by doing that. I put his house in danger by thinking that I knew what was good and taking things up by the work of my own hands to make things happen. What was I even thinking? I was worldly. The reason I wanted to share that with you is because we cannot rely on our own understanding about where God is taking us. These decisions seem very foolish. I'm sure they seem very foolish to most everyone who hears about it. But I want you to understand that God has already said that that he chooses the things that are foolish to the world, the small things, those who are willing to give up this entire world. Everyone who assembles with us has a doctorate in something, different doctorates, right? Or different disciplines. We all have doctorates that we gave up. All 4 of us have doctorates that we gave up. I'm not in this situation. My kids are not in this situation because we didn't work hard or we made dumb decisions. If you want to define giving up the world for God as a dumb decision, that's your problem. But we didn't do this because we've been lazy. We didn't do it because, we just decided one day, as I was accused of, that it was, I was sick of the responsibility or something. Because really, I didn't really have that much responsibility. I had a lot of liability, but as far as day-to-day tasks, I didn't have that much responsibility. I was already semi-retired. I had other people working for me. As far as the work that I needed to do, there was minimal. So it's not that we didn't work hard. Actually, it's quite the contrary. We worked as me, first generation college, my son-in-law, first generation college. We worked so hard for this, for God to show us that it was idolatry, and for us to not look back. We put our hand to the plow and we didn't look back. So my kids and I are not in this situation because we didn't work hard. We're also not in this situation because we don't have tons of student loans. That's part of the reason why my kids are having difficulty being able to afford certain things, because they're paying back their loans, but they're not making the money of those disciplines. That's how much they believe in this. That's how much I believe that I gave everything up and didn't look back. And I'm going to tell you something else. My kids, not for 1 second, have said to me that I messed them over. They believe in this with all their hearts. That's what needs to happen in us, that we're willing to give everything up. Jesus was not being hyperbolic when he said, it's hard for a rich man to get into the kingdom of heaven. It's easier for a camel to go through the eye of a needle than for a rich man to get into the kingdom of heaven. Well, gee, why do you think? Because God actually does require you to give everything up, everything that has meant anything to you, to give it all up for him. You better think about that, because there are some hard times coming, and you're going to be forced to make the same decisions. Discern this message with God.